I don't like this show. I hate the Lannisters. I hate Joffrey. I hate his whore mother. I hate her twin brother that she bangs because she's a sick, demented bitch. I got no one to blame but myself for doing this. I knew the warning signs. Everyone pointing out just how goddamn twisted and depressing this show is. But my curiosity got the best of me. And I'd hope the bad stuff wasn't gonna come this early. Because there's still, what, 3-4 seasons to go. But no. I hoped it would end on some positive note. But George R.R. Martin doesn't know how to do positive. He only knows how to make people miserable with his writing. That's what I was told. And now I completely believe it. Guess I should at least talk somewhat about this episode. It's not that much. A lot of the plots can be... It's probably the most easily summarized of all the episodes I've seen so far. I mean, it starts with Robb and Lady Stark needing to get their army across the Twins, this one bridge community over the mighty river. So she makes a deal, basically Lady Stark makes a deal with Walder Frey to allow him passage. And then, basically, Robb Stark does exactly what I thought he was going to do. He brings out a ruse to lure Tywin Bannister and his army into a fray, sending only 2,000 of his 20,000 troops to engage in battle with them. So of course, while they were distracted, he went after Jaime Lannister's army and successfully took Jaime prisoner. The Starks were merciful to Jaime, if nothing else because they said he's worth more to us alive, which is probably true, but now I don't know how much it is. You know, as I was watching this episode and it was approaching the climax, I was thinking about a number of things that I was going to talk about in this episode, because there were some really lighthearted, entertaining parts of it. Of course, it mostly centered around Tyrion. How all the conversations he had with the woman he had in his tent, and we hear his backstory about how basically the reason he does nothing but bed hookers now is because he learned to never trust women after a hooker, played him for a fool along with his brother and his father. And then in the battle that, of course, which Tyrion's Red Brigand forces were fighting with Tywin's army, Tyrion gets knocked out, and the immediate thing I thought of was, yeah, he's gonna be turned into the Joxer of this show, because he gets knocked out, misses the whole battle, wakes up alive that they were quote-unquote victorious over the 2,000, and there was some good banter back and forth between their commanders, how there were only 2,000, they weren't able to take Robb. He was clearly with the other 18,000, so where were they? And they cut to Robb bringing Jaime to his mother. Also made me think about how I talked to her somewhere about, I think it was on TV Tropes, about how this show rarely shows these major battles on screen as a way to save money. And that is pretty impressive. They should do that. As a person who likes to watch shows that are mostly character driven, I'm perfectly okay with them cutting that stuff out. But then we got to the ending of this episode, and of course I kind of knew it was coming, pretty much. But even when I saw it, so Lord Stark is basically given a choice that his life could be spared, and he'll be resigned to a life working on the wall with his illegitimate son if he confesses to his treason and recognizes Joffrey as the rightful king. He agrees to do that, basically on the hope that would spare his daughters more torment. And of course, Joffrey breaks his word. And sure enough, Lord Stark is beheaded to end the series, to end this episode. You know, as I was thinking also more about this whole main plot is about, basically comes down to two or more, multiple noble families basically fighting over pride and wealth and the desire that they should be the one to rule the people of the Seven Kingdoms. And the one thing I could not but think of, especially after a conversation that Daenerys actually had with Jor-El a few episodes back, is, does any of this benefit the people of Westeros? And I thought about that even more with a couple of things that I think happened in this very episode. The first was very early on when Varys was talking to Lord Stark in the dungeon, and he's basically made it clear these last two episodes that, you know, he serves the realm, and all he wants is peace. And it's made perfectly clear that all of this fighting between these houses doesn't really matter, because how does it affect the common people? And that was reflected even more when Lady Stark is talking to Walder Frey. There was a line he specifically said that I made sure to jot down because I wanted to recite this. At first, Walder Frey comes off as this extremely rude, unlikable curmudgeon who talks down to his own children, is upset with them because they never married anyone, so he's stuck with all of them. But just, there's one line he said, the last line he actually spoke in this episode, when he says, "Stark, Tully, Lannister, Baratheon, give me a single reason why I should waste a single thought on any of you." And that kind of rung true with me, because obviously Walder Frey more represents the common people, and they just take a look at these warring factions of these rich, noble houses fighting over who gets to control them, and so far that's the one thing the show isn't doing a lot of doing. It's not showing us much of the common people and how do they benefit from this. Well, one more episode to go. I'd like to say it can't possibly get any worse, but I know that's not true.